It's understanding that there's going to be failures. You learn from that and you move. The only way you could do that, you got to be ambitious. If you're not ambitious, don't go into this business because you're not going to make it. Ambition is what drives you every day.
Welcome to Cobblestone or Skyscrapers, a podcast where we take an authentic look at what it's really like to sell New York City real estate. And today we're here with Andre Ruach. Did I say that correctly?
Ruach.
Okay.
Yes. It's a French Sephardic Jew name.
Associate broker at Compass. I've known you for over a decade. And a plant enthusiast. But let me start you off with cobblestones or skyscrapers?
Well, somewhere in between. More mid-rise penthouse with a big outdoor space, lots of plants that I can take care of and enjoy.
Beautiful.
So I really like that. I care about what you look at. When you buy property, it's important to have something that you look at, like plants, a view, a park, have good natural lights. All these are important things to me. So whether you're in a skyscraper or in a townhouse and you have a beautiful backyard, or in a penthouse, or just in a regular apartment that has nice views, a good light, good natural light, that's important to me. So that's kind of a mixed answer, but that's my answer.
In between. Do you remember how you felt the first time you set foot in New York City?
So I come from, I was born in Paris, so I kind of was a child in a big city. But when I came here, everything was so tall and high and big. And I remember at the end of the day, I had a stiff neck from looking up all the time. But I felt, joking aside, I felt the energy, the potential. It's either seen it in movies, hearing about iconic figures who lived in New York City, and kind of getting super excited. Wall Street and Midtown and the parks and the restaurants and the overall energy there, high energy, really, I felt that I belong here. That's how I felt.
And that was a visit, or you were already moving here?
So I visited first. The intent was to visit, but I overstayed my visit. Okay. And I never left back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if you ever invite me anywhere, remember, I may not leave.
And how did you end up in selling real estate in the city?
So I kind of talked about this before. My background is electronics, so it's working in a lab by yourself, fixing things. But I felt that that's not what I want to do. I'm more of a people person. And I was looking for a career that I can actually utilize my skills, my natural skills, like being with people and have an outgoing personality. I think I always was a decent salesman. So I said, let me try this out. And I started as a rental agent, and it grew from there. And I started really in the Upper West Side, doing rentals, walk-ups, whatnot, rent-stabilized apartment, and moved to a bigger agency called Sofer, which turned into Douglas Elliman, which were purchased by Douglas Elliman, and then kind of fell into sales from there.
Was there a particular moment that you felt like, oh, wow, I think I've made it in New York?
That's really, I don't like that saying I made it, because you never really want to feel like you made it. You want to feel like you've had achievements, you have achieved many things, but you always want to feel like you never really quite made it. You always want to feel hungry, keep going, because when you say to yourself, I've made it, that means it's time to relax. And I don't want to feel that ever, because there's always something else to work on, something else to try, something else to do.
So the city really keeps you going?
Always. Keeps you going, and you always have a new target. There's always new targets in here. And it's kind of what I want. That's kind of healthy, to feel that there is always new target that keeps you motivated to get up in the morning and work on that.
Suit, sneakers, or both? How do you dress for this job?
So in Rome, be a Roman. I like to wear suits when it's suitable, suits for suitable. And if it's a casual atmosphere, casual clients, I do what's needed. I'm going to go casual. And some days, I don't care. I'm going to do what I want.
Some things you don't care. Yeah, definitely. Downtown or uptown?
I've been everywhere.
Yeah.
I love the energy midtown and uptown. But in the last few years, I've been focusing on downtown, but I still do business uptown. So a bit of everything. I specialize in investments, condo markets, the condominium market. I do a little bit of co-ops, but mostly condos, and I go where the condos are.
What is the epitome of luxury when it comes to New York City real estate? You touched briefly on outdoor space and being able to open the door, but is there anything else that really stands out as this is luxury right now?
Well, it's a combination of many things. It's first the makeup of the building. Not to sound too pompous, but it's who lives in that building makes it luxurious. Who actually bought and invested money in that building. It could be a tiny building, like a 40-unit building or a 30-unit building that they're all like big shots in there, and that becomes luxury by itself. So that's the definition of luxury in my mind. It's where the money goes. On top of that, there's, of course, amenities, architecture, views, location. But location is something tricky that happened with location in the last few years, in the past decade. Wherever new locations were created, wherever developers decided that this is going to be the next big thing, right? So Midtown, Billionaires Row, was created by architects and by developers. So now it's the location. But when I moved to New York City, that was not the location. That was the least favorable location to live in. Look at Williamsburg. Look at Greenpoint. Look at Tribeca, East Village. Many, many other neighborhoods that were not considered luxurious or top locations, but now became top locations. So if you build it, they will come. If you build luxurious properties that interesting people are willing to move into, that becomes luxury in my mind.
How would you describe your negotiation style? There's types and hordes of, hungry agents out there, and how do you stand out when it comes to the negotiation table?
So I'll talk about the strategy, not so much about the tactics, because I keep the tactics for myself. I'm not going to share that. But I would say negotiating style is first and foremost, understand who is in front of you. Understand the type of personality that is in front of you. Are you dealing with big ego? Are you dealing with somebody who just wants to get the deal done? Are you dealing with a narcissistic type of broker? You have also to understand your buyer, your seller. You have to put it all together. They call it reading the room. I call it analyzing the room. Reading the room is kind of on the surface. I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at people's expression and I'm going to make a decision whether I'm pleasant, funny, or gloomy or whatever. But when you come to negotiation, it's a lot more complex than that. First thing is understanding all the parties. Get to understand their personalities. And from that, you create yourself an advantage. The ability to adapt, the ability to think on your feet and come up with a strategy based on the dynamics of the deal, which is the buyer, the seller, the brokers, if there is multiple brokers involved, the team leader of that The team leader may not be involved in the deal, but he is in the background involved in the deal. So you have to kind of understand who you're playing against, because it is a game. It is a game like any other game.
Much like tennis.
Like tennis, chess, or any other game that you can think of, but there is somebody who has to think about how to beat the other team. Now, there are some nice brokers out there that, yes, they want to do the deal, and you feel the energy, but they just want to kind of get the deal done. And then there are others that have ulterior motives. It's either they want it more than the buyer or the seller. They're self-serving, so you have to read that between the line. Lies, you have to understand, you have your lie detector. And then you have to think it through. You know when to when to be patient, when to be aggressive, when to sit back, when to attack. This is the art of the deal, or the art of selling real estate.
Andre, we're here in this beautiful apartment that you're prepping to list, and this amazing view. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I could talk about the architecture, and I could talk about the location, and I could talk about the height. But really, one of the best things about this property is the fact that it's timeless. It's a brand new building, relatively brand new, was built in 2016. But it's not another building, another glass building, or another development that it's going to be forgotten in a few years. It's by the Four Seasons. So it's managed by the Four Seasons. It was built by the Four Seasons with Larry Silverstein, the developer. But it's also a timeless building. It feels like it's going to age well. Just like other buildings that you're going now to the San Remo and the Beresford and many other, pre-war buildings throughout the city that people are still interested after so many years that they've been in existence. Like the Dakota, and I can name so many more. People are still drawn to this building. Why? Because people feel a connection to it. And I think that this building is going to be one of those buildings in 20, 50, 100, 200 years from now. And that's why I think it's special. But it also offers everything that the technology of our day is offering, which is the amenities, beautiful finishes, high ceilings you got 100 years ago too. But it offers a lot that other buildings are offering as well, plus the timeless aspect of it. And the location is phenomenal.
And the location keeps improving.
Keeps improving. It's part of Tribeca. Some people think it's a little bit off, but it's not, because now Tribeca is just expanded. 10, 15 years ago, there were no high-rises in Tribeca. Now you have high-rises such as 70 Best Street, 56 Leonard, 111 Murray, 30 Park Place, the Four Seasons, the Woolworth Building. So the landscape of Tribeca really changed in the past 10 to 15 years, and it expanded as well. So territories in Tribeca that were untouched are now really top locations.
And when it comes to the architecture, this is
A.M. Stern, Robert A.M. Stern, built 15 Central Park West and 220 Central Park South, and many other buildings all over the country. 70 Vestry.
What is it that an architect brings or can bring to the quality of a building, in your opinion?
Well, his signature is the limestone in most of his buildings. So it's the windows, it's the expansive windows, but yet mixed with that pre-war feel. So pre-wars, if you look at all the pre-wars, they didn't really have big windows because there was an issue with energy efficiency. So the bigger the windows, the harder it is to cool or warm up a place. So they had to build smaller windows. But today, A.M. Stern or many other architects that are able to combine the pre-war look and the modern look are able to build these big windows. And it's kind of typical to what A.M. Stern is doing. And he's done a magnificent job doing that, combining the both. and creating that signature look. When you look at a building from far away, you could tell that it's an A.M. Stern building. You cannot tell that about many architects. Maybe Sofield is close to that look, but Hadid, but Hadid is more of a 56 Leonard type of building. But this is quite special and identifiable from almost anywhere. Anywhere you walk around,
Anywhere in the city,
in the city or anywhere in the world that is built a building, you could say that's an A.M. Stern building.
Want to dive in a little bit into your expertise. What was a lesson that you had to learn the hard way in this industry?
First of all, recovery. You have to be able to recover quickly. This business is very challenging. You could be working on a big deal for a long time, and then it falls apart. And with that, it breaks your heart. And it breaks your heart many, many times. Anyone who has been in this business as long as I have, or 5 years or whatever, or even actually 6 months, experienced that. The ability to recover quickly is very important. And understanding that that's the nature of the business. It took me a long time to do so. I didn't have a mentor. I had to figure things out by myself. And it's kind of, you need to have your own psychological sessions with yourself and say, listen, what is wrong with me? Why every time this happens to me, I slow down and then I need time to recover, and you waste all this time trying to recover, and then you have to build the momentum all over again, because it's like a breakup. It's like you broke up with your girlfriend and now you're heartbroken and you're not ready to date again. Same thing with
Doing deals.
Especially when you're in the beginning of your career. You don't know what hit you. You think, okay, everybody, especially what's going on now on TV. I mean, we're kind of on TV now, but we're authentic. We are authentic, okay? They're not authentic. So when you watch $1 Million Listing or all these shows, you don't really see what it took for these agents to become what they became, because they have to portray a certain image. And in reality, when you start in this business, nobody prepares you for the downfalls. Nobody prepares you for the fact that you need time to recover. But also nobody prepares you for the fact that you don't have a lot of time to recover, but you need to kind of recover quickly. So accepting the fact, I mean, if somebody joins my team today and he says, Andre, what is your advice? I said, you have to accept the fact that you're going to fail, and you're going to fail a lot. And it's not only because of you. There's external factors such as approval of the loan, the buyer got cold feet, the seller wants more money, the broker is a jerk. It's a numbers game, but it's not only a numbers game because it's kind of simplifying all that. It's understanding that there's going to be failures, you learn from that, and you move to the next one. And the only way you could do that, if you're not ambitious, you're not going to be able to do that. You got to be ambitious. If you're not ambitious, don't go into this business, because you're not going to make it. Because ambition is what drives you every day. If you're saying, okay, I'm in it for the money, I don't know what I want to do, I think I'll be good in real estate, you have to be ambitious. Because there's a lot of factors that work against you. And yes, winning and making deals is highly rewarding, but it's not always the case. Most of the time, you're losing. Most of the time, you're showing, and then you follow up, and then they're not interested, and then again and again and again and again and again, and then one day somebody wants to put an offer. So the batting, you're batting like 100. You're not batting 3, 4, 500. You're batting 0.50. You're not batting 100. You're batting 50. And understanding that if you're batting 50, you're doing good. Now, there's some people, but as they get more experience, they bat higher, because also they're able to anticipate what's going to happen. They are able to analyze the room, not to read the room, analyze the room. They're able to analyze all the parts and see where it's going. And they're not wasting time as much. But again, be ambitious and be energetic. Take care of your health. If you don't have ambition and you don't have energy, that's a non-starter. So, I don't know. Do some sports, take care of your health, and make sure you're ambitious. And the rest is the other things that you have to work on.
What was your biggest deal that never was?
Are we going to go there?
Yes, we are.
Did you bring some handkerchiefs or like some tissue paper?
No, but we have a healthcare professional in the hallway. Yeah.
There were a few, but the one that stung the most is a $35 million contract that was signed, but the buyer got cold feet. It was at 220 Central Park South. Buyer got cold feet, never wired the money. The deal never happened, but we waited like for 2 weeks for him to decide whether he's going to go through with it or not. And then eventually it didn't. And yeah.
And your recovery? How long did that one take?
I think I was at a good period at the time. I was working on a few deals. So it kind of, I was busy closing those deals. So it kind of helped. But you never fully recover from those ever. Ever. It's like losing, I don't have to say it. You're losing something very precious.
Yeah.
Those are my real estate children.
And that's also unique in this market. These deals can be life changers, right? So
the life changers. I mean, that's a big amount of money. I mean, you can really do a lot with that. But I call them my little real estate, my deals, my children. The commissions that never came through.
Do you plant a new plant for every one of those?
You know what?
Money tree?
I actually, it's a good idea because I love plants, but I love plants too much to be reminded of that.
Okay.
So we're not going to do that. We're gonna find something else to do.
All right. Positive note. What excites you the most of the future of this business right now?
Well, we've been through a lot of changes.
Mm-hmm.
What excites me is that the level of the industry is just going to get higher, especially in Manhattan or in the high-end markets. It's because I think that there's a lot of brokers that are not qualified to do the job. And I think that there's going to be less of us. And the overall industry is going to get elevated to a level that it is respected already, but it's just going to get more respected because we're not only going to be what they call door openers, we're going to be advisors. If you're not an advisor today, you're not able to advise your clients on where to buy, why to buy, how to buy,
what not to buy,
especially what not to buy, because there is a lot more what not to buy than to buy. Manage their expectation, manage their patience, then you're not doing your job.
And winning the negotiation in the end, because this market has 5 buyers for every property at the end of the day.
So yeah, knowing how to win the negotiation is a big part of it. Identifying it, finding it, managing expectations, and knowing how to keep them close to you.
Mm-hmm. If you were an investor, what building, new development would you invest in today?
So today, one of the hottest, if not the hottest building in New York City is 80 Clarkson.
We can see it from here, right?
We could see it from here. It's actually
on the river.
It's covered with orange tarp. They're working on it. It's 2 towers. It's already sold $1 billion off market.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning off market, it's everyone who needs to know knows, but it's not on the MLS.
And why there? Why there? Why invest there?
Well, it's the West Village.
Mm-hmm.
It's a waterfront property, so it's very rare. And what's different with this property than any other property in the West Village, which is on the water, is having a motor court A. B. Every apartment has outdoor space at some level, either a balcony or a terrace. So now you are on the water and you can actually enjoy your balcony rather than living in a skyscraper in Midtown or in the Upper East Side that you're on the 45th floor and you're looking at the concrete jungle. In here, you actually can look at the water. So privacy, exclusivity, beautiful layout, spacious layouts, and having outdoor space for every apartment. And there's nothing really in the West Village.
Well, these lots become increasingly rare. It's almost possible without actually taking buildings down to build these kinds of
Yes,
right?
there's
So-
nothing really available.
Exactly.
And the West Village is like still the hottest neighborhood in New York City.
It sure is. I like to say, even though you said you don't look at it that way, but I'd like to end with, you made it here and now you can make it anywhere. Because this is New York. What other exotic market do you see?
I accomplished here. Can I accomplish anywhere?
Okay. What would you see yourself selling in an exotic market outside of New York City?
So it's more like, how can I expand my network that I kind of cultivated all these years in New York City to other places? My clients are already doing that for me. They're already in Miami, they're already in LA, and some of them are in Europe. So I'm going to follow my clients. When you set yourself a new target, you have to have some sort of advantage. You have to look for some sort of advantage, even if it's only in your head, but you have to create that advantage. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to materialize. Visualize it. Say to yourself, okay, one of my team members is an actor, is in the entertainment business, he has connections. How do we convert? And let's convert. Let's do it. And come up with a plan and actually visualize that you're going to do it. So that's one way. Then we have Miami. So I see myself Miami, Los Angeles, a little bit, and see where it goes, and maybe some Europe. For now.
For now.
For now.
Amazing. Thank you, Andre, for kicking off our podcast here today in this beautiful location.
Thank you.
We will undoubtedly see more of you soon.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for watching today's episode of Cobblestones or Skyscrapers with our guest, Andre Ruach. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
For an authentic look behind the scenes of what New York City real estate is really about, please subscribe and see you next time.